interviews coming later on in the week. This is the final pop-up live planned interview, and in this series over the last 2 weeks, well, even less than 2 weeks, it's been 24 interviews, and I'm so excited to present them all because it's been like a 4 year journey in what coaching actually is for me. I call it fanatical focus, fanatical, because I get excited by things and want to learn them, and I used to not necessarily take actions through my own struggles, as well as neurodivergent. Um, and so it's really amazing to see the culmination of this, uh, and all the speakers are handpicked for their dedication and passion and purpose in the world, putting their what they believe to be helping others in what is an unfolding self a journey of self-discovery with it all at the same time, which is incredibly courageous, and must not be you know taken for granted in a lot of ways. So thank you so much for being here, Helen Davies, as well on this journey. And we're just in a kind of exploratory phase of this summit, because I've got some pillars of neuro-creative leadership, which, I can understand them in my own terms, and I'm very creative. I like to make words up. Some of them will land and some of them won't. So it's really, really important to get feedback and find out as we go along what sticks and what can be created from this, at the same time as creative leaders in the world, being creative minded, harnessing that and actually making something happen that helps and drives change, or other people to do their thing too. So thanks for being here. I would love to ask and hold a bit of tension on who you are, with a question that is about, if you were to look at, what say for instance, what is your favorite topic
Hmm.
that feels like glue to you, that helps you with life and work throughout the time that you focus on this? There's something that's a favorite topic of yours that you come back to all the time, that really helps you with your work and life, and it helps you be who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I think a really big theme in what I've done, particularly my working career, is about impact. But even if it's not about that, my whole life, the golden thread has been about making a difference, however big or small, and you can do that in all walks of life, not just about work. And that has been, I think, my golden thread. I'm not a saint, just to say, but I really enjoy making a difference to the world. And I think it's a position of privilege to be able to do that too.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's echoing a little bit of what happened for me as well, in my journey of landing out of the whole mental health challenges in my early 20s, because of not knowing how to communicate my language and my voice and emotions, and that whole thing of landing there, getting better again with natural means. For me, that's why one of the summit's also about natural rhythms and sustainable brilliance that we have as neuro-creative leaders, and or that we want to share that message. And well, I come up with a mantra that's only just learned for myself, which was, what else is possible to change?
Mm.
And so, yeah, that making a difference and what else is possible to change, there's some synergy going on there, and I love it. So, thanks for sharing.
And the natural rhythm. It's something I talk a lot to people about. It's like the biggest thing that when I had my dyslexic tutor way back in my 20s, the biggest thing that made a difference was literally permission to do it my own way. And that was really important. And actually, I think that links in exactly with what you were saying about like natural rhythm and about how that can work for you, not against you. And I think sometimes we keep trying to fit into boxes that we just don't, we're not that shape. So, stop trying to squeeze yourself in. What if we were to take that box apart, still delivering what we need to do, still doing what we need to do, but in a way that works for who we are. And I think a lot of people, when they start first understanding what that might look like for them, because that's a thing in itself, and then actually, how can you put it in place? And sure, you might not be able to do it 24/7, but there will always be at least a couple of things, if not a whole lot more, that you can put into your place in your life that makes you think this is more aligned to how I do things.
Mm, yeah. Thank you for sharing. It's it's really, yeah, it's noticing when to want to change and then being kind to move forwards with it too. And often it's it's not just like do it all on your own thing as well. It's that's the whole thing of like having these conversations and going, hey, you don't have to do it on your own and all of that stuff as well. So thank you. In a way in which you understand your unique way of being wiring at this time in your life, Helen, what's a favorite self-care thing that you like to do to keep yourself on form?
This might sound weird to other people, so that's cool. But yeah, so basically, I like doing lots of things. I like lots of stimulus, and sometimes when I'm relaxing, say watching TV, is actually doing something else at the same time makes me really happy. And actually, that can be my version of self-care. Whereas other people are like, well, aren't you like really invested in the film, or why aren't you, watching this? You can't be enjoying it. I was like, well, I can, but actually give myself permission that I can both watch and doodle or whatever else the other things I want to do. And I've always liked that. But now it's like, oh, I'm an adult and I can be adulting and I can actually advocate for myself and say, actually, in my downtime, that really helps me relax more, a lot more.
I love that. I love that. It's really that's quite unique. I've not heard that before. It's like just just relaxing, doing two things at once.
I know, and it sounds counterintuitive, but I'm ADHD for a reason.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It reminds me of like a realization that I had a little while ago, which was if I've got um two things to look forward to in the day. Oh, with the balloons. If I have two, then I know that I'll get through the trickiness or the stickiness of the first one because
Yeah.
I've got another task to look forward to after it. But if I have more than that, it's too much, and whether or not I'm uh breaking down the task small enough to be able to manage it as well. So there is that too, whether it's actually handleable or too big a grand scheme of things. So
Mm.
there is that too. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's really that sparked off that insight too. So there's also where has it gone? I wanted to also share um this idea of there's five innate powers we have as humans in general that are when we're inside and present to them, they
Mm.
that we can't self judge or be upset or judge others at the same time. And that it's fascinating with the mental fitness trainings. This is what I learned about these powers to look out for them, and they're very different. And if you try applying one situation compared to another, it will have a different effect and potentially not as good effect or a positive or whatever you want to call it, useful effect. And so with these in turn, I'll say them and see which one lands for you in your mind and body as the most prominent one. They can talk to each other as well, but generally, which one for you is most prominent, which is helping you at this time? as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
So the first one is empathy.
I've always had empathy, so.
The second one, curiosity.
Oh, I love curiosity. It's got a playfulness to it.
Creativity.
I am naturally creative, but ended up in being a nurse, but I'm actually very creative.
Navigation.
Navigation sometimes, it depends. I quite like freedom and not navigating.
Yeah, okay. And then activation.
So actually doing it.
Yeah, so getting into action.
Yeah, I mean, I can literally think myself out of a paper bag. So I think activation, I think if I don't do that second bit, yeah, I've probably relived the project about 3 or 4 times. That yeah, I have mastered that most of the time now, but yeah, that sneaks up on me still.
Well done. Awesome. And then the last sort of curious question around these things is the idea of this sense of creativity and leadership being um separable, to understand them as two separate complementary but yet opposing forces in a lot of ways, with creativity being open resourcefulness and just seeing what happens, seeing what sticks, trying
Mm.
new things out, self-inquiry, being messy, and not necessarily trying to edit at the same time or do something with it until there's enough stuff to do something with. And then this sense of leadership being this kind of like, oh, decisive, take action, make something happen, put a key in a specific lock and open the door and go through that specific door kind of leadership, being that kind of thing. Even though they cross over. Um, what are you getting from this sense of those two pieces as how you create your leadership in your life?
Oh, I could literally go about and about this forever. So leadership is massively important to me. I used to be actually a management and leadership lecturer once, and it's a very big part in one of my roles that I do. I'm expected to be a senior leader. I'm expected to be in a certain way, and so there is yes, there's this decisiveness and moving things forward. What I love about the philosophy of leadership, and one of them is I believe in, is that there's leadership at all levels, and it's about how we embrace that. And what does leadership mean to you? So it like if it means empowering somebody else, sometimes you taking a back seat to let somebody else rise and come forward. And actually, leadership isn't always about you having power. It's sometimes about empowering others and letting others take the lead. It's about helping create a safe container where people's differing and disparate views can be brought together and you help facilitate a way forward. So I think leadership sounds initially like it's very directive, whilst it can be, it also needs to be those other things, which I think is that Zen diagram. It's the crossover about, the creative side where you, and also if you have the confidence to allow that creativity to happen. So I think it can be living in the same place. Now, there's other situations, say, for example, urgent care being my background, when you're not really looking for creativity, you are looking for very decisive decisions and clear leadership. And so that's a particular type of leadership that I think people normally think of. And sure, in an emergency situation, would you want me to be debating the creativity side of leadership, or would you like want me to be getting someone to jump up and down in your chest and bring you back if you had a cardiac arrest? Yeah, so I think that slightly different types. And then but creativity, being actually a creative, I actually found that incredibly helpful in what would be seen as quite a managerial and leadership career and roles, because it means I could think out of the box, because I didn't just see those walls, I saw what's beyond it. I saw connections that other people can't. And I think that's a lot of power in creativity as well, to allow those thoughts, those intuitions, those feelings to emerge, and you actually come up hopefully with something original.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I saw the passion and the power coming through as you were talking there. Brilliant. Yeah, that's really lovely to hear. And so we'll sort of coming back round to what, and there's a unique value proposition you say that you have as not as one thing, but as in as you get a present to what your skill strengths are, how you show up in your work, what is what that creates best results in your life and work. What would you say that is? Helen?
Um, well, I think, well, the best results, I think knowing that it takes a community or a village to either raise a child or to make things happen or to make a movement happen. I think power is in the collective, in us all together. And I think for me, that's been the most powerful thing I've lived with and known, and incredibly grateful, particularly in certain sticky moments in my life. And I think there's so much power in that. In you know, when it's in a positive way. So for me, it's the power of the collective, I think.
Amazing. And where do you see that showing up for you, making that happen in your work life and work?
Well, I think in it's in different things. So for example, in the new inclusion quality marker, I it's wanting to create safe containers. And what would that look like? How would you create that? What about psychological safety? Really important, you know, that you understand that people understand that how that would look, how what sort of culture you're trying to create, how you can have different ways of communication. Communication is like key to everything. And so for me, those aspects um are like the important ingredients to put in together so the collectives can work together, but also you can have a collective whilst also having diversity. And you can see that tension there. You were talking about tension is right. How can you have a collective but actually diversity? And you can if you have certain frameworks in place. And I think I was very passionate about for neuro inclusion to help, you know, explain and express what those would look like and how those things need to be in place, rather than just look at the detail of like, oh, if you have somebody ADHD, these are specific things you do. There's definitely a place for that. There's, you know, this is what you do for somebody who's like has autism and different things like that. But what if we took it like slightly more hovercraft view and looked at generic principles that work, that help with equity, that help with, you know, every organization having allowing for different sort of brain types, as it were.
Brilliant. That's amazing to hear. I love it. It's the kind of stuff that I've thought about, but I'm not in that space of having the the what's the word? Bringing those things to those systems as, but yeah, that's why I really, really value what you're doing, Helen, actually getting in there and making that happen for workplaces and environments for people. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I kind of like systemize and think about it, and I've kind of looking at how to help entrepreneurs and creatives coming together so that they can work well with each other,
Yeah,
as leaders, because that's another part of the whole thing. And making a new style workplaces for those that don't necessarily fit into the office environment at all.
yeah.
That's okay too. Um, but sense of as a I love the word call to action because it's not just a marketing term, it's literally the sense of if there's a calling to take an action, if there's any
Mm,
resistance in the middle, what is that about? Is it because it's actually not wanted? Or is it because it is wanted, but there's a fear of making change or something happen in uncertain times? And so if there's anything also if you're listening here and you get anything from this, what's your highlight, what's your question, any comments, and anything that raises awareness and creates the algorithm with ripple effect of putting it out there, noticing what you notice, and as you notice it, writing it creates the plastic change neuroplastic changes to remember that thing later. And
mm,
more repeated, the more positive action can be taken from positive theory, not to ignore the negative or not to avoid
mm,
it, but it's there to signals, but then we can take what we want from it and actually make better things happen. So bearing what a call to action actually is, what would you say yours is for at this time that it can be a general one, or if you've got something that you're helping people with, what would you say?
Yeah, I definitely have a call to action. But before I do, I think I just wanted to build on what you were just saying. So some of us, if we had tricky paths, or maybe it's just how we were inclined, have a natural negative brain bias. And so we'll keep wanting to go down that journey. And I loved what you said about neuroplasticity, about creating like new connections. And, and actually I always often think of it is if you go through a field, there's a path well trodden, you'll go down that way. That's your new existing neural pathway. So you want a new neural pathway, and that might be feel a little bit uncomfortable because you've not done it before. So you're going to have to walk that and kind of step down the grass blades a little bit. And so creating that new neuroplasticity, the way you want to go to a positive thinking, isn't natural for all of us. And so creating that positivity to the other side of the field in this new pathway, you have to keep walking yourself. And sometimes you're like, but that way's easier. And so like catching yourself and not doing those reoccurring things is that's when you go, actually, I know, but this is the path I'm creating now and I want to. And I'm quite visual. That's kind of how I also imagine creating new neural pathways. So I was just going to build on that. In terms of call to action, I guess for me, obviously, I want new inclusion workplaces that are equitable. I think it's really important that it's not workplace for sure, but it's also somewhere where my neurospicy children can go and they feel welcome. That if I'm going out dancing of a night, that's also they get, the neurodiversity side. And I have had the pleasure of gone and doing awareness training to various places, from charities to clubs, which have been great fun. And we can all play our part in different organizations that are like social constructs, whether it's work or in play, that are neuro-inclusive. And I think there's lots of things. So the call to action is, even today, what's the one thing, slight tweak you could make that would actually cost you nothing but actually make it more neuro-inclusive, a bit more accepting of different ways of being. And I think, that would be my fair challenge to anyone who's watching this. And this is my first ever live, by the way, Rory, so thank you very much. Yeah. And also, for those who are in leadership roles, I do have a free neuro-inclusion toolkit that they're welcome to have as well.
Amazing, awesome. Well, we'll have all of that. Yeah, that was so wonderful to hear. And yeah, we'll have that information on the dashboard of the summit. And basically, there's 24 other amazing different answers to similar questions, but some are different, some are the same, and it's like it's just really fascinating to see the personalities and the experts and how they show up and the way they're integrating in the world as neuro creative leaders. That's my term, but at the same time, I just think it's important to bear in mind that at least it's an emerging neutral term for this kind of thing. I think it's important, but yeah, that's from my perspective. But yeah, so thanks for listening. Anyone with their highlights or questions, comments for Helen, and there's a sign up link for the whole thing. It's going to be available to watch for the next 10 days, 2 weeks, depending on how long it takes to spotlight and re-spotlight all of the amazing interviews that we have. And thanks for watching. And we're meeting this evening on a Zoom link that's on the dashboard of the summit as well. And so uh it's going to be celebration, bit of fun. It's not necessarily it's not like rigorous, but it's going to be like meeting the experts and the experts meeting each other and having a bit of fun and celebrating that we've done all of this collectively, either spokenly or unspokenly, unknowingly created this thing that has I'm just honored that to be able to share some time with so many people and see what emerges from this. So yeah, what have you got from this, Helen, overall that you've noticed for yourself?
I think it's a really great reminder about the importance and validation of creativity within in our realms at work, not just play. Yeah, it's a nice reminder of that. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Amazing. And what I got from it was this space of that it's possible to bring that into the design of systems without fighting or forcing in feeling like it's negative. It can be presented in a way in which makes sense. And just people will naturally draw to it. So if you're around for the May one, when we've got more time to promote, more time to get feedback on what's actually landing, how to use the
Mm.
words, how to use the promotion on it, then we can delve into that a bit longer and go a little bit with more rigor and vigor on a particular combined topic. If you'd be up for that, Helen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. All right then. Well, thanks for watching. It's NeuroCreative Leadership Live. It's the final wrap-up one for now. And apart from maybe some sneaky bonuses along the way this week, thanks for watching. Have a great day and reach out for the summit sign up.